You are now tuned to BS3 Network. BS3 Network, changing the way you watch TV.
It's Queen 3 and King. It's Queen 3 and King. It's Queen 3 and King. Queen 3 and King, we the team, it's going down. We the talk of the town, it's going down. We royalty, wear our crowns, it's going down. Tune in now, it's going down. Queen 3 and King, we the team, it's going down. We the talk of the town, it's going down. We royalty, wear our crowns, it's going down. Tune in now, it's going down. It's Queen 3 and King on BS3 Network.
Welcome to another episode of Queen 3 and King. I'm your host, King Dog. Trying to get this music right. I wish I had a producer. But I'm still in contract negotiations with BS3 and Ben Trey Sutter III, the gentleman who put the BS in BS3 Network. I don't care what they got going on in Israel. I don't care what they got going on in Ukraine. We got to eat over here. Fun hell. I need my money. We're going to play hardball. All right, gentlemen, how y'all doing today?
Doing good, man.
Good.
Doing good.
We're back with another episode of Daddy Issues, our series. Looking at daddy issues from a male perspective. We have three members of our all-star panel. I don't consider myself that all-star panel. I'm just the moderator, mediator, facilitator, whatever Ada you can get, Gator. We got Eddie Kane in the building, also known as the Profane Prophet. Talk to me. Pastor, how you, sir?
Glad to have you back, man. Glad to be back, man. Hey, just glad to be on here. Excited about the conversation again that we've been having, the continuation of it. And sure enough, happy to see old comedian Yogi up there back as well.
Yes, sir.
You're back on the panel, man.
Yes, sir. Speaking of comedian Yogi, we'll go there next and talk to him. How are you doing, sir?
Hey, man, I'm doing great, man. Glad to be here. It's always a blessing and a pleasure to be on BS3, especially with all men. I'm sure we can find jobs for those women, like cooking, cleaning. Probably come at home they could be doing right now. So it's
Don't start nothing.
No shoes required. If you get
there you go.
Yeah, what they say? No shoes, no shirt, no shirt.
Roll on that.
That email address is.
Yeah, the Yogi Lou. And just let me just say this, okay? Because we from time to time, Queen 3 and King, we love having comedians on. John Yogi is one of our repeat guests, our repeat offenders, should we say? Even though if you notice a trend, everybody we have on have a sense of humor, though. You know what I'm saying? It's just that's just what it is. That's part of their character and their makeup, right? Well, let me just say this, because we tease Yogi a lot, when he's on here. Number one, because he takes it pretty well. And he did go to a school called South Oak Cliff High School that on their spring break one year, they put, happy spring break, and they supposed to spell break, B-R-A-K-E. And so, anytime somebody uses a big word on here, I pause the show and I break it down for John and everything. But let me just say this. If you didn't know, comedians are really generally the most intelligent people in the room a lot of times. Seriously. I don't know if y'all done noticed that, but comedians, because of how they see life, are some intelligent dudes. And John is no different,
Yeah.
He's no different, really. He shocked the shit out of me the first few times I had him on. But I done got used to it. All right, and last but not least, we got Pastor on, the thought engineer, Pastor Smith. Talk to the people, sir.
What's going on, good people? Good to be back on Queen 3 and King once again. Looking forward to a great conversation.
Absolutely. Been getting a lot of feedback about this one, of course, and people are ready for this particular part as we transition. Before I do that, we have some housekeeping. So we are live on Roku. Search BS3 TV and download today. Website, bs3network.com. Roku channel, bs3tvlive.com. Our YouTube viewers, please click the like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. All right. So now we're going to transition, and I think I'm just going to start with that basic question. We've been talking about daddy issues and some of the impacts that it has and what some of it looks like and things of that nature in terms of trying to understand this issue. Because again, early on when you hear the term daddy issues, we all thought about it from the female perspective. That's what you hear all the time, the young female that's got daddy issues as a result, picking. And hey, Pastor, we might need to dig into that one. We just letting the world have that topic, the daddy issues, and think that they eating it properly. But we probably still got some stuff we need to be doing on that, right? But anyway, we've been talking about it from the male perspective instead of that female that's being taken advantage of perspective because of her daddy issues, right? And that's probably putting it simply. But now we want to transition into the revival of men impacted by daddy issues. So I'll just start with that. Pastor Smith, we'll start with you on that. How do we transition from the conversation, from the identification, and I think Pastor Harper might have used that word, redirection and revival of men impacted by daddy issues? We'll go to you first, then we'll go to John, and then we'll let Pastor Harper wrap that up.
First thing, we just got to get guys committed to fulfill that role as daddy, as father. And I think you're seeing an upswing in it now. I think as it goes with the narrative is still out there, but there are so many guys who are stepping up, so many guys who are not neglecting their kids. They're showing up. They want their kids, because you have that generation that didn't grow up with the fathers in the home. And so now that generation is grown and they're like, I don't want my kids to grow up without me in the house. And so you have a lot more men stepping up. I think the narrative is still dominating at this time, and it's going to take some time to undo it. But I think it just takes men who are, emotionally intelligent, determined, and just wise about decisions that they make.
Right on.
As men, we can't be spreading our seed everywhere. We can't do it. And because that relationship between, the father and the mother, that's a critical relationship, and it's about making sure you choose well. And I don't think a lot of people actually think about that, man. Once we get past the recreation of sex, because that's what we treat it as, recreation. Yeah. And understand anything powerful enough to bring a whole life into this world should not be taken lightly. Wow, man. You need a license for everything else. Anything else that's important, you need a license for it, right? Yeah, that's right. And so to operate something that's dangerous, you need a license. That's right. Hey, sex is dangerous. That's right, man. And you're supposed to have a license to operate it. And let me just say, we know what that license is. Yeah. But we just don't culturally. We don't value that license. Man. That's right. But we reap the consequences. Mm-hmm. So I think guys are kind of waking up to it, but it hasn't progressed enough to where we can, outrun the narrative just yet. Yeah. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, what do they say? 23 chromosomes from your mama, 23 from your daddy. And if you're not paying attention, sometime you're 23, that 3 a little crooked. Hey, man, Henry VIII kept killing his wives and all that type of stuff, man. And it was his fault he couldn't have a son. You know what I'm saying? He didn't think about it. He didn't know that. Yeah, he didn't know it was on him, but he blaming them for not being able to have a son, and it was on him the whole time. So yeah, we play a part. We definitely play a part. That's a good point, man. I hadn't necessarily thought about it that way. John, talk to me.
I think before we can actually really heal, man, the society has to become accepting of men in the relationships, men and fathers. Right now, man, everything it's a fight, it's a push, it's a battle, and unfortunately, we're not going to stay where we're not wanted. Or where we don't feel needed. Now, you can go and do everything within. You don't need me. If you got it, then you get it. So the narrative has to be changed where we are more where we can implement the fathers and daddies back into the houses, and the dynamic needs to change with moms so they can, because a lot of people have gotten used to, it's funny. My wife runs the house like I'm not in it, even though I'm in it. And every man in I have to say, hey, I got it. I got it. And it's the same. But and I believe it's so easy for women to do that. And the excuse has been, well, he's not there. Well, so what are we doing to adjust and adapt when he is there? We have to make it to where it's welcoming and inviting to where that man will want to be there. Because again, I can't say this enough. We're not going to stay where we're not wanted or we feel need.
Right. And let me piggyback on that. The confused mind does nothing. So if you're confusing that individual, he's likely going to do nothing. He's going to stand or sit confused. Before we go to Pastor on that, let's just give a shout out to Ben. He goes, good evening, fellas. Looking forward to the conversation. All right, Pastor Harper, how do we transition to the redirection and revival of men impacted by daddy issues?
I think we just got a huge cultural lesson, right, on a dude with daddy issues that got exposed with the whole Kendrick and Drake beef, right? We saw a young man that had been affected by the influence that his father had on him. His father was there in the picture, but in his lyrics I brought up once before, he said, like, I'm trying to show the waves, this is no cap. You sold me up the river, but I rolled back. You put me on a road without a road map. I ain't trying to make no song. These are cold facts, right? He's laying out the idea that he was someone who had his father engaged in his life, right? But that he gave him a road without the road map, without direction. So it leads to some of the stuff I talked about earlier and who we are. When we begin to talk about the revival, as much as Drake has been blasted in media and in our social landscape for the last year, it's actually going to be transparent and vulnerable moments like this from brothers who have been broken that are going to need to be able to put that brokenness up there, be able to say it out loud, right? And the first thing that kind of got you to want to bring me on was a statement I made during the men's conference, is that the majority of us have never had an opportunity to actually process from peace, right? To process our lives and to think about its direction from an actual place responding to the violence that had been done to us. That's what Drake is talking about in that lyric. That's what many of our young black men are dealing with, right? That's what the mothers are trying to protect them from, but they're giving them a fear element instead of a developmental element when they're doing it. And so we've got this unique mishmash of all this stuff coming together, both the presence or absence of a father, the masculine energy rising in the mother, and this young man in the middle of all of it trying to navigate identity and purpose, and he doesn't have a peaceful place to do it. So I'd say the first place we've got to start is to begin to create spaces where we can actually have these conversations fully, where that young man can be vulnerable, where that old man can be vulnerable, where we can begin to put those weaknesses and things on the table, talk about them without fear of repercussion, without shame and embarrassment. As we know, our Savior came to take that away from us and to restore us to Eden before we was hiding and covering up with expensive fig leaves. And that's what a bunch of our brothers are doing. That's what, when you see so much of the bravado of who we are and what we're dealing with right now, we covering up with very expensive fig leaves. And so to be able to get that brother to take off the chain, take off the rope, take off the car, take off all these things that create your identity, and say, now come back, young man, and deal with that brokenness that no one ever addressed in your life, or that young man will never be able to do that. And so the revival will start at the place of a shared brokenness and a place of peace. Did I finish in the middle of a disruption? You got me?
Yeah, you can't. We were hearing you. You just were frozen. So you're a little staticky, but I think we got it for the most part. And let me just say this too. You mentioned, about the young man and the old man, and I'm just going to say this, and I'm getting this incorrectly. I'm telling you, I'm paraphrasing when I say this, but you'll get my point. There's a saying out there that the old man who does not listen to the young man will be jilted. He'll be slow amongst his peers, right? And Pastor, you may be able to clean that up for me. He's going to be behind in terms of his peers. If an old man does not listen to a young man, and if a young man does not listen to an old man's counsel, he's not going to be as respected amongst his peers. So the point is that we need to be listening to each, that we both have value. There is a saying out there that an old man for counsel and a young man for war. But we better be listening. And then something hit me when you were talking too, is that I wonder, remember, we went from absenteeism for a lot of, again, we can talk about how we got there. Was it system created with the welfare system and all that, right? We went from absenteeism. Did we move into a phase unknowingly where we just accepted presence regardless of whether that presence was any good at all? It was just like we went from absenteeism. Now that we got them here, everybody shut up. So they stay. Amen. And we accepted subpar. Just a fresh start. Anybody want to?
Well, but they got but the misconception about men being in the houses is that we know how to be fathers and leaders, and we don't. We have to learn. We have to have mentors. We got to have a community. Right. We got to have people that can teach us. The misconception, and me and Derek talk about this often, man. Oftentimes when we get married, we don't know nothing, and we don't have sense enough to try to connect with people that can teach us stuff, man. Too many times the women are like, I'm following you as you follow Jesus. Well, Jesus is all I got. Jesus is all I have to follow him because I don't know nothing else. So for so many times, man, I think we get it right. It's funny. My daughter's 31, and I got 31, 22, and 18. And I believe I was 3 different people when I parented all of those, because I was in 3 different phases of my life, and I was learning how to parent differently with all of them. So, and again, I think as fathers, we should be learning. We should be. Often we don't get it right the first time. And the only way we know that is we have to be trying to learn. We have to get closer to Christ, and we have to be trying to learn. Man, listen, your parenting skills is only as good as the community that you involve yourself in.
That's it.
If you out on it all by yourself, then in lack of better, I'll be damned, because you're gonna be out there by yourself doing real bad. Because we need people. We need people. Yeah. For some strange reason, we feel like we don't, but we need people.
Yeah. And I think that whole thing of, if I ask for help, I'm weak. Sometimes you got to reserve just to be weak. You talk about, I've observed, in my observation, I've seen how that first child is different than that last one, because, like you said, as you go through the experience, you learn stuff, and you have more correction to how you do it on the last child. That first one held together with duct tape and glue, but the last child is a little bit more put together, because if you really love your children, you are learning at the whole time, right? But like you said, you do need somebody who's gone down that road. This is an experiential type situation, right? You need people who have actually done it to go back and tell you, or at least give you some insight of what the experience is like, because it's fresh to you, it's new to you. All you have is what people tell you, but at least you can respond instead of reacting. We respond out of training. Reacting is when you haven't been trained or haven't been told, right? And a lot of people are reacting to life when we need to be able to respond. So you need that. That's why I keep telling people, we need elders back. We need elders. We need a collective standard of men who love their wives, love their families, who, grind for their families, and who can reach back and tell us, yeah, you're going to go through this, but let me tell you, how to navigate it. And each generation should get smarter at it. And like he said, like a profane prophet said, now you have children who come up in that peace. I tell people all the time, Solomon had peace at the expense of David's wars.
Yes.
That's how Solomon experienced peace. Solomon could be that wise, and he could have that luxury because David fought the battles. And as men, especially if you are the first one in your family to dig your heels in the ground and say, not on my watch, understand you got battles to fight. And you got to reserve that. You just got to fight them. You got to fight the fight. You got to fight it. And God will back you. He will back you and give you the wisdom and give you the strength you need to make sure you subdue everything that you need to subdue so that your son, they come up in that peace.
Yeah. Wow, man. Wow. You mentioned weakness and us being okay with it. And I think the beginning of understanding that and becoming okay with it, because it was a scripture for me, and that was 2 Corinthians 12:9 and 10, for my power is made strength perfect in your weakness. So I promise you, I got okay with my weakness. At some point, the Lord talked to me about my weaknesses and being okay with it. And once I was okay with it, he goes, now that you're okay with it, leave it alone. Concentrate on your strengths and get better at those, because that's something you can control. You can't control your weaknesses. I can. Leave your weaknesses to me. Get better at your strengths. And I'll take care of your weaknesses. But weaknesses are necessary, man. Pastor Harper, did you have anything to add on that before I just let us look at a video real quick and see where that may take us?
No. Well, I love where we're beginning the thought process at, because when you think about it from the standpoint of revival, right, we think about revival through the biblical communal standpoint, and we have to take off Western lenses to really think about it, because what we have over here now isn't really revival, and we haven't seen many revivals. Revivals were built around spaces that were intentionally communal, that also had the application side of it. We were rites of passage type people. We were storytellers. We were folks that walked with our children. It was all in the tribe. These things were there. We see this littered throughout the scripture, but because we have a hermeneutic that's been given to us by people who were comfortable being separate, right? We have now mishmashed those things together, and we're struggling to restore what was already there and put it back in. There's already an ancient way inside of the faith that many of us know, the faith of Christ, to be able to restore these practices, but we've got to rediscover it how God originally taught it, and not how they changed the lens so we can see it a different direction. We're doing that. We rediscover not only the ancient nature of our faith, but also the ancient nature and traditions of our people that we came from, that we've been disconnected from.
Right.
Wow. Let's look at a video and see if that gives us any.
That's why you always see the niggas who got daddies seem a little bit more cooler, a little bit more collected than the niggas who cute like their mamas.
How do we move towards a place where black men aren't so emotional?
You can't. You can't, homie, because the only way you can not be emotional is you have to have a father who teaches you and trains your emotion. Other than that, your mama, you have to be emotional, because that's the only time your mother whoops you. You got no spankings when your mother was calm and not emotional. So that's why you're emotional. You were disciplined with emotions. You weren't disciplined with logical rules to follow. You got spanked when you were frustrated. You didn't get spanked calmly and taught why you were being spanked. So you can't undo this, homie. What's done now, we can't undo this. We'll be dead and gone before we see a new group of men that don't respond like us.
As a black man, what can I instill in a young black boy to make sure that he doesn't respond with emotion?
Treat his mother right and train your child's emotions. So you mean you have to spend time with your son. You gotta spend a lot of time with your son. He gonna be the cool nigga who friends follow him because he cool like his daddy. They gonna be cute like they mama, where they dress, where they look, but he gonna be cool like his daddy.
Wow. I listened to that a few times and it hit different, man. Yeah. Any thoughts? Feel free to jump in on that one.
One of my biggest things, man, is the fingernail polish with guys. And in all seriousness, I understand now. For a long time, I didn't really understand, but if a boy is being raised by his mom, he can't help but mimic some of the things that she do. He can't help but. If you keep going through generations and generations of it, more and more of what she does is going to rub off on him. Because it didn't get to our generation, the kids behind us has got to them. Because I'm like, how in the world is that cool? Well, that's what they've gotten used to. They've gotten used to seeing mom do more and more stuff. And because they have, that's what they're doing for the life of me. When I see it, I'm like, wow, how? But God just said, hey, man, how could they miss it? The men wasn't there. Nobody was there to say, no, son. Nobody was there to be that example. Because great examples leave clues. And if there are no clues for those young men to follow and go by, they can't help but do what mom do. They can't help but be emotional. They can't help but be erratic. They can't help but spaz out because there are no examples. We don't have enough examples of what men are or what real men are actually.
Yeah, you have to be aware of the influence of environment. And like he said, that we're trained by our mother's emotions. I found myself shutting down when I got upset or something like that. That's what I saw my mama do. You know, a bill she can't pay. She didn't sit down and say, okay, what did she cried in front of me. I tell single mothers all the time with sons, I say, do not be crying and stuff in front of him. I say, because inside of that boy is a potential man. And everything in him wants to rescue you.
That's right.
But he's limited in his stature. And so what happens is he grows up feeling just not able to handle it.
That's right, man.
I can't get it done, even when in his stature now he has ability, but now he's been shut down at an early age. So they shouldn't be introduced to that so soon, or it needs to be a man that, like he said, to help them interpret those emotions and let them know how to channel them. I like the guy, I can't think of his name. He's like he functions in like a dojo. He's like a karate instructor, gray beard guy, black guy with the gray beard, and he deals with a lot of little boys. And he'll catch them in an emotional moment and he'll settle them and have them talk through it.
Yeah.
Especially when they get ready to shut down, he'll push them, but he'll tell them, this is what you're dealing with. This is fine, but this is what you have. Man, he's really starting to pick up in popularity. I can't think of his name, but I love how he does
Jason Wilson, right? Jason Wilson, right?
Yes, I think that's his name. But that's what every house should have.
Yeah.
Every house should have that man. And like he said, man, like Charleston White said, you can tell guys who grew up with the father. Remember, I gave the stat the last time. Every Super Bowl champion quarterback that has won a Super Bowl, what they all have in common is they had a present father in their lives.
Wow.
Every Super Bowl champion. You think about the Eagles quarterback.
Yeah.
You think about all the adversity he faced leading up to him winning the Super Bowl, Jalen Hurts.
Yep. Going back to college. Yeah.
If you didn't have a strength of composure, and there was no way you would have got that. There was no way you would have achieved that goal. But who was the first person who was one of the first people he ran to after he won the Super Bowl was standing right there was his daddy.
Yeah. We emotions is a big one, right?
Now, granted, we don't want to be robots.
I love that. No. It's not about being robots. It's actually about mastering your healthy emotions and being able to master those that are unhealthy as well. So what you're talking about, even that, what we're celebrating in that moment is his and every other fella that's been in that situation, ability to now sit in calm when it's actually chaotic all around you. From the time that ball hikes and the trenches get engaged and everybody's giving full out, it's chaos. And you got 2.5 to 3 seconds to be able to find your target, deliver the ball downfield, put touch on it, all of those things. Mind has to be, back to the beginning, in a place of peace in the middle of all that chaos. The Bible said he'd give us peace that surpasses all understanding. But this is a training thing. And the only way you can train, and this is where mothers are unable to do it,
you got to be put in the situation.
Chaos. You got to be in the middle of those times, and only a father can give that to a young man. A mother is going to fearfully protect him, hold him in, draw him in, whereas that daddy is going to be just like that young man that was helping his son down those steps. Don't be scared of it. You got to engage. There's one more step. He's in his ear. He's coaching him, and he's letting him know, I see more in you than you see in yourself. And I'm also here to safeguard you while you're learning to operate in the chaos, because you know you've always got me to get your back just in case something falls short. There is a special place that God has for a man to operate in his family, but we now are existing on the second generation where this has not only been decentralized, but it has actually been demonized openly, and we continue to have our young people living in a space where they don't see the value of a man. I was watching a video online, and it went back to a recording like back in the 70s. It was some white guy. He was interviewing all these young African-American women, and they were all talking about, in response to welfare systems and all this, the idea that they didn't need a man. And you had 5 women in the room, and all of them had children, and they were all talking about the idea of not needing a man. This is 50 years worth of systematic degradation of what we look like in that space, right? And so now 50 years of young men that have been trained by their mother and shaped by their mother and those effeminate traits and actions and all that goes along with them. And so the pivot or the reset has to be one that allows for vulnerable men to come forth and say there's something missing on the inside of me. I have a fatal flaw and a weakness because of the absence of that male voice and the absence of the confidence that came with it. And they got to be vulnerable enough and have a space that they feel is safe enough to be able to open up, so we can begin to help them be transformed by the renewing of their mind and get their peace back, which is what they miss. And they're missing that peace, and they're missing that peace because they missed the preparation.
Yeah. Wow. You know, that's key, because we didn't have the luxury to learn and make mistakes in safety.
That's good.
We didn't learn in safety. We didn't grow up in that safety, and it is damaging because there's a certain level of dog you got to have in you to take on life.
Boy, you better say that again.
But your dog been chained up so long.
Hey, it can't be no chihuahua either. I'm telling you right now. Man. You gotta have some pit bulls or some Rottweiler or some dog pincher or something.
Our dog has been chained up so much that he off the leash now. He don't know, he can't move beyond that point. And so we're trying to overcome barriers that are in our mind now. And so, you know, they talk about, you know, men mature slower than women, and women's brains develop faster and all this. And they say it to kind of downplay men, but they don't understand how smart God is. Because there's a level of just, I hate to say it, you got to be stupid to a point to really take on life.
Right.
Think about the recklessness that young men have.
Yeah.
It's by design. It's just misused because God said, I need you to be kind of off your rocker a little bit to take the risk you need to take. So when you get later on in life, you're settled.
Wow.
By the time our brains move into, because what they're saying about maturity just means you settle into a more family oriented, more societal way of thinking. That's what they mean by maturity.
Yes, sir.
And so we don't get there as fast because we are supposed to be going out there and taking on life. And we can't have this thing in us that's second guessing ourselves and all this type of stuff. We can't have that.
Yeah. I called it in the previous episode. Boys have to have a natural intent to dare to discover. Right. That is what they look. We're creators. We're builders. We're the ones who are going to say. And that boy gets that at a young age, or he does not.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. Right. My daddy went there to wrestle with me.
Yeah.
He didn't wrestle with me.
Right. Yeah. I'm right there with you, man.
And that can make you timid when you engage in your first battles. You know what I'm saying? You gained confidence while you was wrestling with him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Or you engage in battles that you think you can win that are inappropriate.
Yeah.
You following me?
That's it.
All right. A couple of comments. Nickel Slick. You got to say that slow in the mud. Nickel Slick said, "Good evening, fellas. What's up, Keisha?" And being earlier saying, "Wow, didn't know that, Derek." Can't remember which of the great points you made that he was talking about. And I think he said his dad coached him too. I believe maybe that karate guy. But Jalen Hurts. Okay. I thought he was talking about the karate guy, and I was gonna get on Pastor Smith with as good of information as he's delivering. You can tell he don't really know karate because he calls it karate. Anybody who know karate
Back
good,
well,
we
bro,
say
we say
karate.
karate.
We say
karate.
karate
all day long. It's
so
karate.
You know he can't do karate.
Karate.
They didn't have no more Saturday morning kung fu by the time.
I tell people all the time, you want to know whether to be scared of somebody.
Hey, I know my tiger
karate.
style. No,
How did they say it? How did they say it? If he said karate, don't mess with that boy. All right, and then Nickel Slick says, I've never told anyone that lied, bro, Pastor Profane. I need a man. Bump that. Right on. So in talking about the emotions of it, it kind of leads me into a couple of different questions. One of them I think is kind of answered that way, but if y'all want to add something to this, let's say it. Again, we're moving into the transition of redirecting and revival, right? So personal healing and self-awareness aspect of it. What are some signs that you're still carrying unhealed wounds from your father or father figure? Or we could also add to that, or being raised by your mother, solely by your mother, right? Is that kind of question, right? And one of them, based on that other video, was emotional outbursts. Don't we all as men notice when a dude is reacting emotionally and it doesn't look right, and we're looking at each other like, do y'all see what I see?
Or throwing a tantrum. Or you throwing tantrums.
Yeah.
Because men don't. One of the things I was trying to explain to my son, men don't throw tantrums.
Yeah.
When we're not having our way, we don't stomp and be mad, because that's not what men do.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And when dudes are into it, and one of them call it bitch ass, he's saying you got some tendencies that you're showing here that's a little emotional,
The youngster today will say he a little zesty. Yeah. A little zesty. Yeah.
And I think I've heard it sassy, right? You sassy, I heard that.
But here's the danger in that. It's because we are males. You get a male with emotional.
Ooh, that's right.
That's a dangerous combination.
That's right.
And this is why you have the level of violence you have in our neighborhoods. Somebody looked at you crazy, so you want to kill him? Like, what are we doing? Somebody said something cross to you or something. What are we doing? Nobody have nothing beyond the moment that they're trying to maintain, or they're trying to keep themselves, set for. And when we got the power we have as males, I'm specifically saying males for a reason, because I said last time the man controls the male. Yeah. This is why we have to become men, so that we can control a male, because the male has to be controlled, because that power, if not controlled, is dangerous and people get hurt.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that's good. That's a different way to put that one. And again, I'm glad that Pastor Harper and Pastor Smith both talked about the robotic part of it. Like, we're not saying, like when we talk about emotions, we're not saying you're not going to have them, right? We're just saying you got to control them,
And we're also saying you can't be led by them.
Yes.
That's right.
That's what separates us from women.
Right.
Because women are led by them, we're not supposed to be.
Yeah.
And when we find, and there's nothing worse to a woman than being married to a man that's led by his emotions.
Yeah.
Okay? She can't cry because he's crying.
Right.
Wait a minute, that was my turn. You cried last. But that's not worse. So tell me this: how is she supposed to navigate through that? He's just as sensitive as she is. I heard this before. Somebody breaking the house, both of y'all can get beat up.
Right.
And he tell her to go get it. She tell you there is a place for everything, and God has men specifically like that for a reason.
Yeah.
And normally, when we get into marriages, is when we figure out, when you're dealing with somebody else, is when you figure out all your shortcomings. Yeah. All we do is, because can nobody tell you about yourself like your wife can.
That's right.
What you talking about?
Oh, really?
What you talking about?
Miss, you this, you that, you do this.
Yeah.
I was trying to get my I needed my somebody that knew me better than me. So my doctor said, bring your wife. I was like, no, I don't want to. I don't want about going to tell everything.
Yeah.
We got in there. She knew stuff about me that I didn't know, and which is a blessing and a curse, because now you have somebody holding you accountable for some of the unmen-like things that you're doing, and now now we have to change them.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Pastor Harper, you're about to say something on this emotion.
Because he froze.
He may,
Yeah.
I wanted to take that that question and go a little bit further, right? I believe when we start talking about signs that you're still carrying unhealed wounds from your father or your father figure, or from being raised by your mother, I think oftentimes that's dealing with our surface and not our generational issue. And right now, what we're talking about is a generational issue. Right. So how far that goes back and where it comes from is really what we have to be trying to heal. I can't just have personal healing in the middle of this, or what I'm going to end up with is a fragmented understanding of what I'm fixing. Right?
Oh, wow.
When the truth of the matter is, there was a recent article that came out. And epigenetics is kind of the study of the footprint and the imprint, right, biologically on us of issues that our family members have dealt with before. It's how things are passed through the genes, and they are showing how the anxiety and the fear of a father can actually be transferred through the semen that's going into the womb. So I want us to pause right there for a minute and to think about what we're looking at currently. The absence of the fathers are those who have been shaped through the wrong type of father themselves, who gave this away. This now 70% big group that we're dealing with that have been raised without these fathers now systematically and generationally. And I want you to think about all that fear that's now rolling downhill. If we're thinking personal healing and just personal care, then we ain't even scratching the surface on this issue. This is the genesis of a conversation that I pray has us really begin to explore what it looks like to heal as a community. Because to really touch those boys, it's going to take group therapy more so than just individual, right? Because many of them are followers now. They're not leaders. So the idea that you're going to pull them out and be able to get them to stand up on their own and then be able to reintegrate back into that, it's going to draw them right back in. We're going to have to deal with bulks of them at the same time, helping to reorient them towards a story where they can regain that power, regain that peace, regain that purpose that was missing from the fact that they weren't prepared, right? And over-coddled by mama. And we're going to do it through a strengthening mechanism, not just one that tears them down. So the delicacy of surgery, and this is where, a knife, you need a precision scalpel. And we're talking about the same way we're dealing with generational brokenness. We're going to have to look at this through a 30-year lens for generational repair, because ain't no healing finna come out of the immediate. These are conversations that will hopefully lead to action, that action lead to organization, that organization lead to energy, and that energy create a movement, right?
Yeah.
But this is just the beginning of it. And the broader we open up that conversation, the more people can really begin to two things. It could be overwhelming, right, to think about it that way, how bad it is, or it can be comforting, right? And I lean toward the comforting, because oftentimes the shame that we're dealing with is because we think in our situation is the one that's all jacked up. No, if you can look at it broadly and see that, no, we all jacked up. There's a little bit of comfort in that allows me to let down my guard and begin to go into a space where hopefully I can begin to heal from a place of peace, right?
God showed me that, man. You're right on time with that one, man. God showed me the fact that it takes several of us. So, we all have this thought as men, we all say we want to just go get one. If we can just save one, if I can just make a difference for one, and so many times I've tried to go grab that one and I failed. I missed him. I'm like, man, I thought I had him. We had a good conversation. I gave him a number. I followed up with him, and I still, I didn't grab him like I wanted to, but we had this situation where I was asked to go speak at this high school for this behavioral class with one of my buddies. I went to high school and played sports with and stuff like that. And after that, this young man reached out to us, and needed some help. And we put basically 3 or 4 of us came together and we got him what he needed. And he accomplished what he needed to accomplish, which, he completed his ASVAB and got accepted to the military. And he said to us, he says, now I have options. For an 18-year-old trouble kid to say that, man, to break you down like a $3 rifle. You understand what I'm saying, man? He said, now I got options. And so we immediately set up phase 2. I said, hey, now we need to get together to talk about what we're going to do when he falls. And we need to talk to him about it. All 4 of us that had something to do with him getting what he needed, because we had one person go get a practice test. We had another person make a call. We had another person go deliver. It took 4 or 5 of us to get done what needed to get done. I said, all of us need to be there so we can walk him through what his next step's going to look like, because he's going to fall. We don't want to undo everything that we've done because he gets to one crossroads and can't cross it. We need to let him know these are the resources you have when you get there.
That's it.
Right. Guess what, Pastor? Here I'm finna break you down, Hart. We told him we're gonna go meet at Chili's. Guess what he said? I ain't never been to Chili's.
Wow. Oh wow.
Wow. No.
Oh wow.
They are.
I ain't never been to Chili's.
That's
and you think you can look in yourself in the mirror and think you can complain and feel sorry for yourself for what you got going on. And this joker ain't even never been to somewhere where we consider it as simple. Some of us have turned our nose up at Chili's.
I was just gonna say, y'all get out of here with some Chili's.
Hey, I'll take my 3 for 15. What you talking about?
That $10.99 burger better than any of them drive-throughs.
So to talk about it takes a community, it takes a village. It is that we are not paying attention to that aspect of it quite enough. It really does. Number one, I can't do it by myself. I lack what I need to complete his journey. I gotta have some other men to help me do it, because you got something that I don't have that he's gonna need.
Can I follow up real quick?
Yeah, definitely. Let me just give a shout out to April Showers, then I'll turn it over to you. April Showers Network says, hello, everyone. Hey, appreciate you, April. Haven't seen you in a while. Thank you for your support. Go ahead, Pastor.
And this will be very brief, because I love that you pointed that out and brought up that situation. I was introduced to a concept a few years ago called open table. I don't know if either one of you guys has ever heard of it. And it's a social work model. You see it in social work, nonprofit organizations, but it's the idea that you're bringing one kid to the table, one young adult to the table, but you're bringing 10, 12 mentors to the table at one time. And all of them are handling one aspect. One may be helping him get his license. The other one may be helping him prep for job interviews. The other one might be the one that actually has some on-the-job training for him. All these different things that come together so that somebody that's coming either off the street or coming back from prison can get fully readjusted. And you got a guiding light with all of these people that are around you. So some of our children are so lost, they're not going to be able to do it without that. And it's either going to be through the open table model where one of them is embraced in love with all of them, or we're going to have to get some group settings where enough of them can hear the tone of what we're saying, that there's a group enlightenment. So now this becomes something that all of them or half of them out of that group might be able to chase. So now you have the group accountability that comes along with that as well. If you don't have that group to circle around them, you're going to have their peer group that's equally motivated to walk with them as well.
Yeah, love it, man. Love it. Let's see where I'm going to go here. Okay, this is one, because a lot of folks, we all know them. We've been them, where we, woe is me, right? There's a thin line between taking personal responsibility for your healing without taking the blame for it. In other words, it wasn't my fault. So I'm going to sit in this, it wasn't my fault, instead of sitting in the, how do I get out of what wasn't my fault? You follow me? So what does it look like to take a personal responsibility for our healing without taking on the blame for what happened to us?
Well, if you want to be, by us being Christ-like, we want to be better. We want to be better than our fathers were. We want to be Christ on earth, and I think that comes with self, being self-aware of where you're, like we said earlier, what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are, and trying to heal and be better from your weaknesses. If you know you have issues, father issues, then you need to talk to somebody. It's important that you talk to somebody, because a lot of the stuff we have hidden, and you are only as good as the help you are seeking.
That's right.
Yeah. And that I think that goes for most of us, man. We all have blind spots. It's important that we have people that can tell us about our blind spots, and it's even more important that we go do something about it. We don't have enough examples of men. It's imperative that we do whatever we have to do to be a better example of what real men are supposed to be. We're talking about putting groups and stuff together. It will be easier to put groups together if we could go outside and find real men. But because you gotta put an ad out, you gotta put a newspaper clipping out. Where the real men come, they should be everywhere.
Right.
They should be everywhere.
Yeah. Because they ain't at the dating things where the women at. So it's somewhere.
Boy, is that the truth? Is that the truth?
But let me say this. When we talk about taking personal responsibility, it may not be my fault I'm here, but I'm here.
Yeah.
So how do I fix what's here? A lot of times we don't understand. Typically, the next generation is correcting issues that the first generation had. That's just how it goes, right? And as you begin to deal with here, you got to have some level of sympathy or empathy for the person you want to blame. Because the older you get, you're going to understand.
That's good.
Wow. So this is what they were dealing with. This is what, and so you may not understand right now, but you will understand later. You know, Daddy wasn't there. But there was a reason. I'm not saying it was Mama, but something about him. Something about him.
He said, "I'm not saying it was Mama."
I'm not saying it was Mama.
Well, Mama catching strays over here.
Hey, man. No, but we got to be real. That happens. That happens.
Right,
I know guys who wanted to be there, and because of the drama between them and the baby mama, they just but Daddy had things that he was trying to overcome. My father, his dad had 11 kids, and none of them was by his wife. And so now my dad, he had outside kids, me being one of them.
Yeah.
So he had issues. So I can't necessarily look at him. You should have known, even if he knew better, did he have the tools? Did he have the tools to work with to correct?
Yeah.
So if he didn't, how can I form those tools? How can I get the information I need? It's like, okay, some and it's a bad example, but some of us come here with debt.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Mama them put light bills or something out in your name, and you fold. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But as much as you want to say you was wrong, the bill's still there. Okay, let's pay it and we got to believe that God will give us grace to overcome.
That's what's up, man.
Hey, man, I love that. Yeah, but so I keep stressing, broadening the picture, right? And because intergenerational healing, it really has to be the conversation that we're having. When we look in the Bible, we see them talk about the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, right? We know that Abram was the one who journeyed with God initially, but his sons reap the generational benefit, right? And in some places, the generational chaos from his mistakes as he was learning to walk and become a man who was journeying in faith as well. So when I look up, right, and I look at all this stuff to get passed down, I got to begin to think about the fact that I'm the product of Alton, Lynn the first, and now I'm Lynn the second. There's a third also down there as well. All of this keep going. And the truth is what you just said, Pastor Derek. You know, my grandfather was a whoremonger. He was the definition of Papa was a Rolling Stone, right? he had 3 families in the neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? My daddy and them used to walk around the corner, and they would blackmail him into making them give him the ride, or they was gonna go back and tell my grandpa. You know what I'm saying? This is their relationship with their father when they were coming up. You understand what I'm saying? So fast forward. They, because of the authority that had been robbed in their relationship the generation previous, I not only inherited the sins of my father, but I inherited the fact that from the beginning, I was already questioning his authority as well. And so now these things get received. So here's the truth. I finally wake up and got to look at me. And I can't look at daddy no more, because now I'm looking at him and I see who he had for a father. And I'm looking generationally and I'm seeing the brokenness that was there. And so it can no longer be his fault. But it also can't be my fault. When I look at the generational trauma and the legacy, good or bad, I've got to recognize it ain't my fault, but it is my fight. That's here where we are right now, I've got a fight to begin to do something different so that a different ripple and wave can be sent through the generations that are coming in front of me. And if I don't make it my fight, then my children are going to be having this same conversation 10 years from now on their podcast. And I don't know what the children's children and children's children are going to be dealing with. And so my primary job is not about taking all of the blame, because that's not healthy. I did that for a while as well. That led to dealing with depression, being under and being overwhelmed by the situation. That's not the answer. But I didn't heal until I recognized I needed to pray for my father because he was unhealed. Once I prayed for my father because I recognized the unhealed wounds in his life, God began to let me see with a little bit more clarity, see the generational nature, the breadth of healing that we're dealing with, and help me understand that I'm going to be dealing with, he's in denial right now because he can't take, he sees it, he knows it's his fault, but he can't say it's his fault. Right? So he'd rather simply be in denial and use his drink and all the other things that he uses to deal with that thing. I've been in that same denial and used the same coping mechanisms as my father. I stand clear of that today only because I made a decision to forgive him. So if you're still dealing with fault and gotta forgive them. Unforgiveness issue that you're dealing with, and you gotta forgive others, right? The same way you have been forgiven. So you're not gonna be able to appropriate true forgiveness inside of yourself, and you still holding on to bitterness from the ones that were broken before you.
That's real.
As you can see, in the relational growth and repair part, that was the question. So he's exactly where we were. No, that's exactly where it should have naturally led, and I'm glad it did. Is the forgiveness. But one aspect that I don't want to miss in this is where you said I didn't heal until I recognized, right? And I, as you were talking, as Pastor Smith was talking, I was thinking to myself, can we have personal healing without self-awareness? You got to be self-aware in order to have personal healing. And then Pastor talked about generational healing and community healing and cultural healing. Can we have that without some semblance of a personal healing? You follow what I'm saying? If you're not healthy enough to go into that, you got to reconcile something within yourself as to why you are where you are, in order for you to contribute mightily to the cultural or the generational. If not, you're going to be messed up trying to, you follow me? You know, you're going to be incomplete. You're going to be in a situation where you're not adding value to that healing, that communal healing, that cultural healing, that generational healing. John, you were about to say something.
But it's not enough to know what our grandfather was and his father was. It's not enough for us to say we don't want to be like them. It's not enough. It's not enough just to say that. No, it's not enough to say I don't want to steal. Or I don't want to do this like them. But because it's in you, it's gonna take more than you to do that. You gonna need Christ.
There's some folks that missing that. Yeah, it's you missing that, because if you ain't jumping up and down shouting out that comment, because it's in you, it's gonna take more than you.
Yeah, absolutely. If if an egg get cracked and it's in that cake, it's coming up. No matter how you hold it, no matter how you wish, Lord, I don't want to be in there. It's coming up because it's in there. Yeah, it's coming up.
Yeah. I think it was Albert Einstein that said a problem can't be solved at the same level it was created. So you need something higher than you. You need something outside of you. And this is why
Knew you was gonna come through. Knew you was gonna come through.
this is why submission to Christ is so important. You got to tell yourself, listen, I don't know nothing. I'm leaning completely on your understanding, right? Because I don't understand. And the problem with us, and this is one of the most detrimental things about that father issue, is we don't respect authority. We don't like authority. We don't respect authority. And I tell people all the time, this is why we don't like to look at Jesus as the Lord. We like to look at him as Savior, because Lord makes him an authority. I don't deal with authority well. So now when he says, don't do this, don't do that, now you trying to control me and all this type of stuff. Like, absolutely. Like, but yet and still, I want to be rescued. But the rescuing isn't in taking you out of the circumstance. The rescuing is taking the circumstance out of you. Yeah. Because that's where he's trying to get to. He's trying to take the circumstance out of you, but you got to be listening. You got to submit to his authority. And let me tell you, submission is not natural. I tell it to anybody. So anybody listening, man or woman, submission is not natural. This is part of our divine nature. We understand the value of submission. And we do it to, you know what I'm saying, so that we can grow, so that we can. The seed has to submit to the soil for it even to begin to sprout. Yeah. Yes, sir. So if we're in Christ, we got to submit so that we can grow. And we grow in him, not independent of him. It's not like you trying to grow to where you get out your mom and them house. No, you're in him. You got to stay planted. You got to stay rooted in order for you to grow and grow strong. And as you grow and grow strong, you now become a resource to those around you because you figured some things out. You've become an authority. And that's what we're striving to do as men. We're trying to become authorities.
Yes, sir.
So that we can be of help. And the last thing, the devil makes us single focused and single minded to where all we see is us. And when he does that, we never see that we have a greater responsibility, a social responsibility to our community. I have to control me so I don't mess up my community. I don't mess up somebody else's house. I don't mess up somebody else's life. So let me control me because I understand I am a part of something bigger.
Amen.
So I can't just be focused on, what I want. No. The Bible says, let no man seek his own, but every man another's wealth. I have to be thinking about what's going to be good for the next person. Yeah. And how I move and how I operate.
Wow. The piece that I wanted to just touch on here, because we had talked about, recognizing what took place behind us and even some forgiveness words that were spoken and not dealing with unforgiveness. Well, when I hear the word forgiveness and unforgiveness, one of the things that I know a lot of people struggle with is the person they're trying to forgive's participation. And it ain't gonna always, right? So I want y'all to talk on that just a little bit. They're not gonna always engage in your forgiveness. You forgiving them, they could care less whether you forgive them or not. So let's talk to people who, we say unavailable or unwilling. Sometimes the person they need to forgive is dead and they don't know how to forgive somebody who ain't walking around. You follow me? So talk a little bit about forgiveness when it comes to somebody that may be unavailable or unwilling to even engage.
Well, even if they're walking around, I understand the struggle. It has really nothing to do with them. It's all about you. If you forgive them in their heart, we got to allow God to do the rest. Because people would never, listen to me now, never do how you want them to do. Right. People will never be as sorry as you want them to be. Right. People will never be, they never. Yeah. Right. You done did all this and you, whoa, what you doing? I need more. I want soap opera sorry. I want crying on the floor. No, you're not gonna never.
James, I'm sorry.
because ultimately it's not about you and them anyway. As much as it is, it's not about you and them. When God becomes your father, when God becomes your everything, it has more to do with you and him than you and them.
That's right. It. That's it.
But if you can get forgiveness in your heart, now you actually really good. It don't really matter because I believe God is calling you to be an example to them of what should be done, and not for you to run to him and say you should apologize. Because I'm telling you, my dad act like he could care less about how mad you was at him or how you felt. He act like he could care less.
Yeah.
Until he died, he act like he could care less. So me being mad at him and wishing this on and that on, he was going on about his merry way, skipping and tripping to doing the same thing he had been doing. Yeah. It wasn't my responsibility to make him sorry. It was my responsibility to show him the way.
Wow.
But you think about that, like you said, say your daddy went on. As a man now, knowing what you know, do you believe he had any? He may not have outwardly showed it, but that inward regret. You think he had it?
I do believe he had it, but it was important at the time that I wasn't looking for. I didn't want to see it. I didn't have to see it. God has me in a place where, son, I got you, because. And I have to be in that place with God because I didn't have a dad to lean on. Now, this is my father. Mm-hmm. You got me, Lord. Okay. All right. So I need you to forgive me, Lord. But Lord, it's hard. He act like he don't care. And Lord, no, son. It's important. It's important for the next generation that you forgive me your heart because you got seeds that need to see you being the man you're supposed to be.
Right. Yeah.
I think you just touched on a pivot point, Doc, because many of the individuals who end up growing up with daddy issues in the home end up having daddy issues with God, right?
Oh,
so because of that rebellion and that inability to submit to authority that Pastor Derek talked about, you end up. God is a God who is loving, but who is also vengeful. Right, and he is holy. He has demands that come along with him. And as you said, oftentimes we are all in for the Savior, but we are rejecting the Lord. And the Lord is where the healing actually comes in at. And so because I have a daddy issue here on earth with my biological father, and I never learned how to submit to order and reason and direction and logic and someone who had my best interest in protection and provision in hand. So I felt safe with them. I felt like I could come from a place of peace with them. Oftentimes the Bible actually says we are at enmity with God. We end up coming into the relationship where we are actually in a posture where we're ready to box with God. And so here he is saving us, and many of us, when it comes down to those internal thoughts, those internal traumas, the internal pains, all of that stuff that he really want to get to, we end up putting up blockades and barriers, and so we don't let him get to those. And so the idea that I'm going to now forgive my father is one of those blockades. I did it. I'm going to now forgive that person that did something to me. And so while John was divinely touched, Doc, and God put him in the right place from the beginning, I did not end up in your spot, right? I ended up wanting to understand why my father never stepped up and changed my situation for me. And it took me years of battling, asking that same question to realize that it was not his action I needed to deal with. It was my reaction that I needed to deal with. And internally, everything that we're talking about right now, when you start talking about steps toward personal healing, is about taking control of your reactions. Every one of those emotional movements that are shaped by that trauma and that pain that you feel. And as long as that individual still has the ability to throw you off on your divine walk, then that's something that's an unhealed wound. That's something that's got to be submitted. And I don't care who it is, whether it's your daddy, whether it's your mama, whether it's your kids, or whether it's your wife. You know what I'm saying? If they can still get you to the point to where they deflect you from your divine walk, then that is an unforgiveness issue. That's something you got to lay before the altar. That's an unhealed emotional wound or pattern or thing that developed from your trauma that is still holding you down today. And it's going to keep you from that healing that you really want to be able to get to, because healing is a journey. It's like the blooming onion, Doc, at Outback Steakhouse. It's layers to that thing, Doc. It's all open the cracks and the crevices to be able to really get down in there. So until that onion is wide open, Doc, and for most of us, we just start on the edge. We're not ready to open that onion all the way up. Till that onion is wide open. that healing is something we'll continue to struggle with. So their action is not as important as your reaction. So I have to forgive for me, not for them.
That's good.
Let me say this. You, Pastor Harper, you done been around me enough to where you've been present for what I call these divine revelations that the Lord give me, right? And he just give me another one, right? That I didn't look at submission like this. I've never looked at it like this. He just gave me a picture of it. And there is no success without submission. In any walk of life, there is no success without submission. And I just thought about this group of people I have in my life, males and females, and the ones who are comfortable with submission are more successful than the ones that are not. The ones that are not have been struggling month in, month out, year in, year out. They are struggling with submission and they are struggling with life. Until just now, did he say there is no success without submission?
Yes.
Male, female, boy, girl, it don't matter. What walk of life, it don't matter what career path, it don't matter what field, it don't matter what. There's no success without submission.
That's it.
Can I piggyback? And it'll be quick. I promise.
That's what this is about.
Because it is no success without submission, because submission is to his sovereignty. Right? The very thing that we're trying to get back to operate from a place of peace and be able to grow is the sovereignty he gave us from the beginning. He said, I made you in my image and my likeness, and it was good. I gave you a sovereignty in your fear and through life and trauma and all of those things. You gave away that sovereignty. So when you give away your emotional reactions, when you give away and let everybody else control you, you are giving away the very sovereignty that God gave you. And so when I submit to him again, I submit first to his sovereignty, right? And recognize that all things are working together for the good to them who love God.
That's right.
Called according to his purpose. But when I submit to his sovereignty, he begins to restore my sovereignty. And so there's a power that is restored in the middle of that. And so he said, the Apostle Paul said it this way. He says, when you are weak, then I am strong, right? And so it is in my submission, my weakness, that the strength of God is able to show up in me in the first place. And but to get comfortable with that, when you come from a broken father relationship, can be difficult. So we've got to begin to let these brothers know, I'm not trying to take your power. I'm trying to restore your power.
Trying to give it, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That's so powerful right there.
Absolutely.
And knowing what to submit to. See, folks get talking about submission, and we've submitted to. Excuse me, we got some. I'm talking to John right now. We done submitted to some bullshit. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yeah. We done submitted to some bullshit in life. So it's understanding what to submit to.
That's it.
That's it. Not so. Hey, look here, man. When I say, I tell people all the time that shows like this, man, it seems like we trying to talk to other folks. Shit, this for me, man. I don't care if y'all like it or not. I don't care if y'all like it or not.
I didn't realize that I needed to forgive my daddy until he came up. I'm like,
wow.
I just
something, man.
I just put it in the room and went on past it. And said, I just assumed that I had, but I don't think I've ever dealt with that until it was said on the show.
See, we've heard it on TV shows and things of that nature where a therapist talks about how you will block something out of your past, and it has to be all dramatic. It's got to be, because I was beat, I was raped, I was all this other kind of stuff, right? Sometimes it's little stuff like that we block out and don't even know we done blocked it out.
See, we blamed it on my mom. Me and my brothers blamed my mom. She was the one that was present, so she got the brunt of all of our frustration. Where we gave our dad a pass for the most part.
Yeah. Wow.
Very real, Doc.
Wow. Isn't it?
My wife struggled with the same thing. She didn't even know she had given her father a pass, but I would always be like, your mama was the one that was there, and you ride her continuously. But your daddy literally walked away, and I will never hear you say a bad word about him, because when she got older, they began to restore the relationship. But the thing that me and her talked about is that she never measured the impact of his absence. And she said she never measured it because she got used to measuring the impact of male absence, period. She wasn't measuring any absence of any male. And that's part of what we're dealing with this generational issue we're talking about as well.
I'm tickled because what Pastor said was a dangerous statement to make to his wife, but you got to be bold. Remember, he said you got to be off your rocker to be able to attack this like Pastor. He's off his rocker to tell his wife.
Yeah, I was beginning to notice the dismissal of the male presence in her family. So we've had some very deep conversations. Even her uncle, who was a breadwinner, earner, raised his kids, raised foster kids. There was a lens because of the women that had to step up and take on those masculine features that automatically diminished the men that were around, even some of them that were doing great work. And so what you end up doing is I'm not processing the good ones or the bad ones, right? In that situation, as much as seeing men through the lens of their deficit.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Yeah. So them was tough conversations. I ain't gonna lie.
You gotta have your mind made up.
It's detrimental to us because it lowers the expectations for ourselves. We should have high expectations for us, and that's typically what a man does. A father is going to come in; he's going to have high expectations for you, because even when you don't feel like it, he still pushes.
That's right.
Because it's not about who you are right now, but it's about who you're becoming, and he knows that. You talk about how fathers prepare you for outside the house; they prepare you for life that's coming.
That's right, man.
That's
Hey.
He's looking at. Man, he needs to know this. Let me teach him. Right. Because he knows what's coming, and he knows he wants to prepare you. And so when we hit those points and we feel unprepared, it's easy to start placing blame.
Oh my God! How many women's voices did I just hear? He's 8.
Yeah, it don't matter.
He's 7. He's just 9.
Yeah.
Because we're not teaching from. We're not parenting from that. What's happening today?
I gotta tell y'all this. I gotta tell y'all this. Yes, so I got. So I'm over my in-law's house, right? My mom, my wife's people. No, it's only one.
Yeah, we know what in-law means, John. Go ahead.
Well, I gotta say, because it was my sister.
You don't let folks take the long way around,
right?
Because I gotta set it up for you. Because
Pastor off because they need time to drink that beer, so they gonna go and make the story stretch so we can get to the script.
Come on, man. I need to say this.
Look at him.
So I'm over there. So one of the kids is acting a fool.
Yeah.
And I snatch him up.
Yeah.
Because that's what the men do. She called me and told me and said, hey, listen, I know you call yourself the disciplinary of the family, but that's not what we're not doing that no more. I'm gonna be disciplinary of my son. And I thought to myself, I say, it take a village to raise these kids now. Yeah. That's that boy. At some point, that boy gonna be too big for you to say anything to him.
Yeah, man.
His daddy. Yeah. And I just it's funny because I was like, I couldn't believe it, but that's the world we living in today, where they think they don't need men to do
that type of energy is out there quite a bit.
And they bring us a mess and expect us to fix it after they created the mess.
That's what's gonna happen because that's what's gonna happen.
They created the mess. And I keep telling people, see, everybody wants to be rescued. Everybody wants to be shielded.
Yeah.
But nobody wants to be instructed. The first point of protection is instruction. If there is no instruction, then can you really say you want my protection?
And he's telling the truth. You're talking to a military guy here. Yeah. Protection is part of it. Instruction is there is absolutely no. That's the very first thing.
The first part of protection is instruction.
We are here to protect this country.
God instructs us. God instructs us to protect us. He instructs us to protect us. Wow. All we see is I want to do what I want to do, and then when consequences show up, save me. That's how we play God. That's how we play everybody. That's how we play life. We're like, no, make the right choices on the front end, because I've
Guilty.
set before you today
Guilty.
life and death, blessings and curses.
Yeah.
I said it before you.
Yeah.
Choose life, but we keep choosing death trying to get to life. It don't work that way.
You ain't lying, because sometimes choosing that death is like living life. Hello? It's like it feel like life.
Come on,
Hey, Pastor, I don't think you hear me, huh? It's like it feel like life, don't it?
Hey, man.
Yeah,
You deal with artificial so much, you don't know what's real no more.
Like that. I'll let me 25 years later when it feel like death then.
Right. When that doctor got you on 15 pills.
Right.
Right. You better say that. Boy,
Is
you
this living?
They never operate with that life that you got in there.
Right.
You better say that.
Right.
All right, we got the philosopher in the building.
No.
He goes, "Good evening, fellas. I hate that I missed the show, but as I can see, you all didn't miss a beat. Appreciate you, brother. We get you on part 5." He goes, "I too gave my father a pass, but what I didn't realize was how much I needed a father until we started doing this show." God, dog.
Yeah.
And we ain't talking about we talking about a sharp brother right here. I done been around Freeman for over a decade. You understand what I'm saying? This is one of the good ones. I said it like that. This one of the ones that get it, man. And he didn't realize until just now. Boy.
Yeah, but you know, First Corinthians told us that there are not many fathers, right?
Right.
That we have many individuals who can teach, but a father is there for those elementary, rudimentary, mentoring, foundational principles that give a son the confidence that he needs to navigate, so you're not asking all of those questions later on down the line. When a father does not put that stuff in him, part of these conversations me and my wife have been having has been really rediscovery of self. And I was wondering why, even though my father was the guy he was, which handed down so much that I've had to figure out how to get rid of, and I'm still trying to figure out how to get rid of, right? Yeah. I had all these other men in my life who were preparing me, who were training me, whether it was through Boy Scouts, or whether it was through church, or whether it was coaches that I had. And so there was an enormous confidence that I had as a young man that I felt like I could conquer the world. I did not feel like I couldn't do anything, even though I had come from a situation where my identity hadn't been handed directly to me, that roadmap by my father. So when those things are missing, I had all these individual pieces. But when I got older, I didn't necessarily feel like I could go back to all those men, and some of them passed on and some of them moved on, and all of those were there. So I had the deposits of the information that they had given to me. But there was a point where even then, your father has to remind you of what's in you. You go back to Simba and Mufasa in The Lion King, and although his father had told him to treat him and all those things were there, Rafiki had to remind him that he was still there with him. There's an abiding presence that you need. So even for a G Free who's getting older, or for us as we deal with these issues of daddy issues as well, that is the reality. The Bible told us there aren't many fathers, but we need more fathers. We need some more folks who both deal with that issue, grow from that space, rest in the peace of God and the purpose of God, and then get bold enough to begin to teach others so that some of these fatherhood gaps can be filled in, man.
Yeah. This has been a show of revelation and confirmation as far as I'm concerned. And when G Free talk about he didn't realize how much he needed a father until we started doing this show. Well, what I just realized is that first of all, we all have tanks. Each individual has tanks that need to be filled. And no one person can fill all of those tanks. You need it from other places, right? Guess what? We have been fathering each other. I've been getting a look. Why are we drawn to each other? Each one of you can say, I was drawn to y'all at some point, and I told y'all. Each one of y'all in my own way, I had conversations with y'all that said, I'm drawn to y'all. Me and John went to lunch. Me and Pastor after one of his sermons, and me and Harp after a couple of different, men's conferences. But guess what? I just realized the men that I'm closest to, I'm getting a little fathering from them. even though some of them may be a little younger than me, Derek.
Mm.
Some of them may be back, but I'm still getting a little fathering from them, which is why I'm drawn to them. Because the real man not only wants to father, he wants to be fathered, man.
Yeah.
Boy, you better say that. You better say that, boy, because until my daddy died and I was still waiting to be fathered, I was still waiting on him like that kid waiting for the school bus outside for him to father me.
What kind of cigarettes you go out and get?
Yeah.
When I got the Cool King filter shorts.
I'll be back.
But I think it is important for us to understand.
Did he pack that thing? That's what my dad is.
It's important for us to understand we can't, and I think it's been said, we can't get so wrapped up in what we didn't have that we miss what we have.
That's right, man.
Because a lot of times God will place men in your path to give you what you missed. But if you so hung up on the one who didn't give it to you, you'll miss where God is trying to get it to you. So
strong, man. So strong. So strong. That's big, man.
But it's a lot of brothers still hung there, though, Pastor Derek, for real.
They are. Yeah. They are. G. Freed, the philosopher, says absolutely a real man requires fatherhood to lead and be led. 100. I promise you, I've been trying to stop this show for 25 minutes and 27 seconds. And just couldn't, man. It just the information just keeps coming, man, and it's so healing, man. And it's like I want so much for brothers to get this, man. I really do. It's like every brother I see, it's like, man, you gotta have this. This is like you're more concerned about the flu vaccine and the COVID vaccine and the measles now that they're not broke. This the vaccine you need.
Right. Yeah.
This the vaccine you need.
That's it.
All right, let's give some final thoughts. We'll go John, Derek, and Harp, and we'll close this one out, man.
All right, so my final thought for this evening is, first of all, I thank you guys for having me on the show, man. It's been awesome. It's always a pleasure serving with real men of God. You too, Doc.
Pastor and Christian.
It's one of the things I that jumped out in my head is all types of men. You know, even when there seems like there's a void in our life, God still finds a way to bring men in your life for different things. Yeah. I remember I was playing football.
Wow.
And I was a freshman in high school, and I was actually really good, so I was kind of feeling myself. So the coach was telling me to do something, and I was talking back to him while he was talking to me. And he took the football, and he must have hit me in my head about 30 times. Guess when I stopped talking back? I was cured. I was cured after 30 years. I was cured from talking back. See, God knew just what I needed when I needed it, and God always gave us what we needed.
Yes, sir.
Even when we thought we were falling short, even when we thought it wasn't going to be on the God, always gave what we need. That comes to fathering, mothering, or whatever it is.
That's true, man. That's good.
That's my final thought.
All right, Pastor Smith.
If you know anything about Dr. Tony Evans, you know he's a great storyteller. And he told a story one time about a man who was working at home in his office, but he had his son there, and his son was becoming a big distraction. His son wanted to play. He didn't have time to play. So he came up with the idea, let me give him something to keep him busy so I can get some work done. So he rips a page out of a magazine, and it's a picture of the world. And so he tears the picture up into small pieces, hands it to his son, and tells his son, go back and put this together. And when you put it together, come back, we can play. To his surprise, his son came back faster than he thought he could actually do. He thought that would keep him busy for a while. He came back and he hands it to his dad, said, Dad, I fixed it. I finished it. And he's looking at it. He's like, how did you do this so fast? And the son reached and grabbed the paper and he flipped it on the other side. And on the other side was a picture of a man. And he said, I just put the man back together. And he said, when you put the man back together, the world comes back together.
Oh, wow. They ain't gonna hit him like that. Oh my goodness!
Courtesy of Dr. Evans, by the way. That's my final thought.
That's a good one to quote. That's a good one to quote, Doc, right there, Doc, especially when we talk about the model of manhood. But you know, and I love it because when you put the picture together, you put the man back together. So you are on line with what I was wanting to say. When you begin this journey of rebuild, it's important that you have a picture that you're chasing, right? And God is gracious to us in that he has painted pictures all throughout the biblical text of what a righteous man looks like. And although I'm far from it, I begin to ingest that and be transformed by the renewing of my mind. As I ingest his word, I can meditate on his word. I can pause and think about that word, and I can begin to put in action plans to move forward in that word. Read it for those young men who do not feel confident, for those older men who did not have guidance. Reading through the book of Proverbs, 1 per day for every 31 days in a month, 30 when it's on the other month, is 28 when it's in February, and 29 in the leap year. But read one every day and read it consistently, because you'll see things consistently that you have not seen. When you do not have your biological and your physical father present, you can begin your own rebuild and your own revival with the word of God. And I'll leave you with this, Psalms 1, the picture of what a godly man can look like. This is the psalm, which many of these were written by David, but this is the way of the righteous and the end of the ungodly. The Bible says, "Blessed is the man who walks not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor stands in the path of sinners, nor sits in the seat of the scornful, but his delight is in the law of the Lord, and in that law doth he meditate both day and night. He shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of the water that bring forth his fruit in season, whose leaf also shall not wither, and whatsoever he does shall prosper."
Yes,
those are promises to you. Take them in. If you are a lady on this call and you have a son who is dealing with these, struggling with confidence, struggling with his identity, put those proverbs in front of him. Put those in front of him. Psalms is an imperfect man wrestling with God. Mr. David wrote a lot of those Psalms, and he was not perfect, but he was a man after God's own heart. So it shows his ups and his downs, the fact that he had to wrestle with his emotions, which sometimes were unchecked and got him in trouble too. This is all in the biblical text. Get the picture of righteousness from God, begin to plant those seeds off in you, watch the revolution and the revival start, and it starts with each one of us. We are a revival of one, and I'm grateful to be reviving my own heart and manhood in this community of brothers that we're on this call.
Well said, man. There's nothing left for me to say. I'm gonna give a shout out to the chat room. Mika said the educated queen said I almost shouted. And I'm gonna get a shout out to a couple of people that showed us some love. Leah Dawkins, Mika Baldwin, that's wifey and sister. Also, shout out to Theodora Harper, the Blue Streak Free, Saritha Lorraine. Now, y'all don't know Saritha Lorraine, maybe, but you know Saritha Lorraine because her name's Saritha Lorraine. That tell you a lot about it, don't it? Keysman Webb in the building. What's going on, Deacon? We got Dre in the building. DeAndre Randall Sr. What's up, Smoke? And then, of course, Ben Sutter III. We appreciate everybody for tuning in. Again, get you a young man out there and get this information to him. Please direct him to BS3 Network. Direct him to the Queen 3 and King YouTube page, Roku TV channel. Let him watch the first 4 parts of this Daddy Issue series, and I promise you it'll be well worth his time or her time, because I think we've also discovered some value in those moms and those wives getting this information as well. If you are to be a helpmate, this will tell you what he needs some help with. Again, part 5 will be coming up at some point down the road next week, though. Next week on Queen 3 and King, we are going into a little lighter-hearted conversation. We will have a couple of comedians back with us. We will have Mike James of the Dry Bar Comedy Special and the Opry. He's got an Opry special, and we will be having a show called Don't Touch Shit. It's a show about mamas, the things that mamas used to say, and that's one of them. We used to go and don't touch shit, don't ask for shit, don't look at shit. So we're gonna be talking about the things mama used to say. It's entitled "Don't Touch Shit." So join us next week, 7:00. Mike James and also Bobby McGinty. He's just a regular guy. That's how I like to introduce him. But again, hey fellas, I appreciate y'all, man. Again, great stuff as always. We'll see y'all again on another episode of Queen 3 and King.
We see you looking, want beef, then we cooking, bro. Bring the hook in. Queen 3 and King, we the team. It's going down. We the talk of the town. It's going down. We royalty, wear our crowns. It's going down. Tune in now. It's going down. It's going down. We just hit you with another one. It's going down. We just hit you with another one. It's going down. We just hit you with another one. Tune in now. We just hit you with another one. It's Queen 3 and King. 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 On BS3 Network. Queen 3 and King. BS3 Network. Queen 3 and King. On BS3 Network. Queen 3 and King.
BS3 Network, changing the way you listen to podcasts. BS3 Network is now on Roku TV under BS3 TV.